Hello everyone. So last time in class we talked about the different iterations of level of details for a bar graph. And we stopped here on the stacked bar graph. Now today I would like to start by just summarizing a little bit the level of detail LOD concept, as you can see here, the LOD concept. So just to make sure that you are with me on the same track, we are in the intro to Tableau. I'm here still in the intro to Tableau slide set. Okay, let's go. Level of detail, as we've explained earlier in class, it's the levels of detail. It's a granularity of the visualization. Granularity is this concept that used at the very beginning when I just learned Tableau. I don't see it often nowadays, but if you can see it, maybe you can see it on some of their tutorials online. So granularity means the details, the level of details, breaking down and slicing down the data into different groups based on different dimensions. All right, so there are examples, as you can see on the screen over here. If the department is only a field used in a dimension, then there's one level of detail. If we have region and department and the order does matter, then the order doesn't matter really in the level of detail, but in your interpretation or answering questions easily. So you really need to understand what the question is so that you can put the right order that helps you easily and better understand or better get the answer. All right. Now let's go ahead and talk about a little bit about this icon. I love these icons on the top. I have shown you earlier in class how to use them, especially when you want to clear the visualization with this icon, or you want to swap the rows and columns. And later on we can talk about other icons as well. All right, today we're going to talk about the line graphs. In class, we talked about the purpose of using a bar graph or visualization, and it is an easier comparison between different elements in the data. Now, as for line graph, we usually use line graphs for time series. What is a time series data? A time series data is data that can or that starts or has time. Date. Let me connect to the Superstore. Data source. I thought that I connected to that. Anyway, data source, I'm gonna go ahead and go to... I'm sorry, just a second. Bear with me. Level 1, and now we're gonna go for the Superstore data, and now we have it. Very good. What's up? Okay, we do have it. I have the 2022. So name, I have the Superstore, and here I have the list of data. That's really awesome. Okay, let me take a look. So over here, this data could be a time series data because it has order date. So if we take a look here at the order dates over here, it tells me that it's a kind of like a transactional data, we call it. So here, if November 7th, November 10th, November 22nd, January 12th, and so on. You can order this if you want. So over here you can see we have January 3rd, 5th, 7th, and all that. Keep it as is, up to you. All right, so this is what we call it, a time series data. So time series data is data that has date. And usually the line graphs for date, usually. So, let's talk about the built-in data hierarchy in Tableau. So let's start with sales and double click sales, guys, and then go to year, order date, maybe order date here, And as you can see, why do we have a bar graph rather than a line? Oh, maybe order date is in fact, where is it? Order date is not, the data type of order date is ABC. ABC is a string, that is categorical data. But this is a date. So we need to change that. So we need to change this data type, as you can see here, to date. This is the right type of data. I'm going to take this. Yeah. So now I do have the order date. The order date, where is it? It jumped somewhere. Here. So now the icon for order date is a calendar. This means it is in fact a date. All right. So let's take a look here. Seems like the Tableau has just put all the dates here and group the sum of data based on each day. So this is in, let's try it again, just to show you the difference between this and the slides. And here now order date, and now we're getting the same as in the slides. I here fit width, for example, and then if you fit width, I wonder if we can. Fit width is a little big. I want to see if we can get it bigger. Here's fit width is good. I can also use the entire view, is maybe better. Okay, so now as you can see, guys, we have the order date and we have the sales. What we have over here is an order date that defines the axes and into 4 different years, because we have the data collected from 2014 to 2017. This is the kind of data we're working on or with. And this is the what we call it a built-in hierarchy. What is the hierarchy, the built-in hierarchy? We can actually take a look at the hierarchy if we just click on this caret here, the little arrow, inverted arrow, and take a look at year, quarter, month, day, and more. More means weekly number and weekday. Or custom, you can create your own custom hierarchy. So let's take a look at a quarter. So we have quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, and this is 4 quarters of the year. And as you can see here, we have only one pill. This whole thing that we call it a pill. All right. So here's a month. We have 12 months from January to December. So this is all in one group. This group, if you guys remember in a previous video, we said that these are discrete, and we explained very clearly the difference between discrete and continuous. Let's take a look at the month when it comes to continuous. Let me a little bit remind you that here with the continuous, this will mean a month, 12 months. Okay, this is the month as discrete is actually summing the sales of the 4 years of January's and putting it here on this mark. So this is the sum of sales, the sum of the sales of January month. So this is the January sum of sales for the years 2014 to 2017. I think so, 2014 to 2017. So this is the sum of January sales for all the years 2014 to 2017. Let's say that you're interested in looking at the trend of the sales, or the sales of January of 2014, January of 2015, and 16 and 17 separately. So what you do is you change that to month as a continuous. Please note that the pill here has changed color, so switched from blue to green. So over here, this is January 2014 sales. This is January 2015 sales and so on. As you can see here, seems like the business is doing well year after another, because over here this is the sales 2014, this is the sales 2015 getting higher, and this is higher and higher to 2017, throughout 2016, sorry, and then 2017. Now, if we want to take a look at a cycle, November is usually there is a peak. This November 2015 also there is a peak, and here May November 2016 also there is a kind of peak, but now there's a higher peak before even November. In September we can identify that. Here it is still November is higher, but it's now getting higher in September. The same applies over to the year 2017. Actually 2016 we have higher peak here in January again. This January 2017. So the circle kind of changes, but in any case you can see the trend. The trend is that the sales are increasing. When we say the trend, imagine yourself drawing a straight line across the line, the date kind of line, a graph. So imagine yourself drawing a line. This line will be shooting up, as in the average, a line throughout the center, the average of these peaks, just roughly. So imagine yourself drawing a line on the center, like on the halfway through, like the average line. So it's going to be going upwards. This means an increasing trend. However, when we're looking at peaks and dips, this is what we call it a cycle of the time series. So a peak and then a dip. So this is, we call it a cycle. When is the peaks happen? When is the dips happen? Is it repeating itself again and again? Then there is a certain cycle in the data. If it's not repeating itself again and again, then this data is noisy. There's not much of a cycle. There's only a trend, which is an increasing trend. All right, anyway. So this is the this is the group of different hierarchy. What we can call these is a built-in hierarchy that represent the date in a discrete. This is the list of the hierarchy that list the date in a continuous manner. If you go backward a little bit in the slides, you'll find out that I already explained this here in more details. As you can see here, I put discrete. This is a slide number 30. If you go back again to slide number 30, you can see the discrete here, the continuous here. Circles are even in different colors for you. I also showed you in different visualizations what I'm doing right now, explained it. If you have some time, please take a look at the slides again and read some of the notes here in the notes section and see the different differences between a discrete and continuous for week, for day, and so on. I explained all this in a previous class video. All right, so now we covered this. Now remember we're talking about iterations or level of detail. Just recall that the level of detail that we created with the bar chart was done through two different strategies. The first strategy was getting 2 dimensions, because you need more than 1 dimension to slice, or 1 variable to slice the data. So with the bar chart we're using dimensions. With the line chart we're using date. So over here with the dimensions we use 2 dimensions side by side, or 1 dimension on one of the shelves, the rows or the columns, and the other on a card. This is, we call it a card, and it was a color card. Now when we're talking about the line graph, we're talking about first of all, we're slicing the data, so let's put it here in a quarter, for example. And we would like to, or let's put it in a quarter here, like that. And we would like to see year by year, in different colors. So we're gonna hit Control, hold down Control, and put quarter also in color. What's happening here is a mistake. I want to show you how when this is continuous, we always slice when the dimension is discrete. When the dimension is continuous, what you're getting is basically a gradient colored one line gradient color. If you get something like that, this is not a level of detail. A level of detail is when you switch this to quarter, and of course also this to quarter. You might need to actually switch this to quarter. In fact, I can still do it if I put the color as a different hierarchy, I think, or put it in a different region. So let me give you first the easy busy way. The first way is, for example, you have this kind of a graph. You have a quarter in dimension, sales as a measure, and then you want to say I want to add here department. So I want to see the sales of different departments. In the slides, I maybe used a different dimension, maybe used a region. I always like to use region. So here we have 4 different regions. Maybe I used also a year, I'm not sure, or I used maybe a day or a month. So here we go. So this is a month. So these are, seems like March, April, May, June, everyone is not doing really very well. In any case, these are the sales of different regions. So we have here a legend, a colored legend that you can edit. What happens if this month is in fact continuous? Now the month is all right. So even if it's continuous as a month of order date, you can see that here you can get also the level of detail anticipated. All right. Can we get the level of detail if we drop here month into not month as a continuous? Now month again as here top as a dimension, and let's drop this here, and let's use maybe here month, and here is month, and maybe here is a year. Can we do something like that? Yes, we can. But look, it doesn't give you a connected line graph. Do you see that? So this is here, this is the months, and this is the year. Maybe if I switch order, allow me just to take a look at this year, and this is quarter, for example. So this is done nicely. So here's the year, and here's the quarter 4. So basically, this is also something that you need to take a look into. So you put the higher level detail first on the shelf here to define the axes, and then the granular level of detail like a quarter or like different months over here. So you can get also a more level of detail, but this is quite cluttered. So make sure that your visualization is not as cluttered. This is maybe doable. So you can see this is quarter 1, this is quarter 2, this is quarter 3. Probably don't want it to be in line. If I want it to be in bars, I can change that. Do you see? I changed the marks here into bar, and there is a stacked bar graph. So there are different ways to getting stacked bar graphs. Maybe I would like to switch the order. Take a look into that. So the ways that I shared with you in my slides are not the only ways into doing things. Use a sense, but use a sense that makes, use your own sense or your own perspective, own way to create different level of details, but that are meaningful. Maybe this one is not quite very meaningful. It is. Here's different quarters. Seems like this quarter we're doing really bad. But it's visually not appealing because these are very thin while these are very thick, so I really can't see very well. So in this case, I'd rather use the bar, the line, and not the bar because I can see easily. All right, lovelies, this is all what I wanted to cover. One last thing that I want to talk about is when do we use this line graph? We use this line chart, guys, when we are this is a line, and this is here region. Let's put region. Let me just put what. Okay, this is line graph level of detail. So we're adding a dimension here, and we're adding, we having sales and year. Let's just switch that. And this is the line graph. Over here, this is a simple line graph that we created together. If you recall, when we started, I'm giving you a recap. So we had the sales, and then we had the date, order date, and make sure that the data type is date. And then we kind of like thought this is more appealing if it's fit width. So this is a simple line graph. Let's just write here. So this would be a simple line graph. You see what happens? I mistakenly deleted the sheet name. So this is here a line graph. Let's take a look. What happens here? Nothing. You see? All right, so these are the two graphs. We use this line graph to detect movement, or if we want to inspect the movement of these marks. We call these little knots here little marks. So we want to detect the movement. So there's a movement over time. So it's mostly for time series. Thank you so much, guys, and I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday.